I am Ven. Welcome to my book corner. This is another book review for you for Don't Die July. This time around we're taking a look at an arc that I got via BookSirens, and today we're talking about Horotic by Mattherw Mercer, not that one. This comes in at 251 pages long and releases on September the 29th, 2026. What do I think about it? Let's dive straight in. We kick off this by meeting our POV character of Addison and her boyfriend, Julian. Addison is at a point where it's kind of a low in her life, struggling to find employment. A pair of them are struggling to pay the bills for their little apartment that they're living in. And also, Addison, a couple of years earlier, lost both of her parents in a car accident involving a drunk driver. Second time that's come up this month, actually, interestingly enough. And as a result of this, and trying to find some structure and stability in her life, she turned to religion. And in the case of doing that, started to reshape her life around a strict moral code of abstinence, sparing of alcohol, and church every Sunday. Julian, on the other hand, is the supportive boyfriend who trusts and offers support all the way through for Addison on this, but they had been physical together previously, and there is a little bit of shaping there, especially due to the fact that Addison kind of feels guilty for putting Julian through this, even though Julian never pushes in a way that is unfair to her, but realises that she's made these choices which has completely changed his life. Struggling to deal with all the bills, which again came in another book this month, interestingly enough, when a knock on the door happens. They've been avoiding the phone calls because she thought it was a debt collector. It was not. It was the attorney for her estranged uncle, Graham Keene. Basically, she has been left everything of his estate on one condition. That condition is she throws one last party at the estate. The problem with all this is the estate is the Horotic mansion. Horotic is a company that her uncle built up, starting as a risque burlesque show, and has basically become almost like a Playboy-esque organisation. A massive mansion of hedonistic sex parties, staff literally just dressed in the bed sheets, as you can see on the picture of the cover, and nothing else. Drugs, alcohol. Obviously things that, as somebody leading quite a moral life, is a bit of a clash. However, it's amazing how often money can solve all the debt problems. So she decides to go along with it, goes to the house. There's a little bit of hostility towards the person who's running the house. Understandably, after they have looked after this place for so long. But as they begin to settle in and begin the planning, it becomes clear that something else is going on here, because unfortunately her uncle and her uncle's wife had both committed suicide in this house. So we get inklings here of a haunting that is occurring. And over the course of this, we then have some hilarious set pieces as we get multiple people in to try and deal with this haunting and figure out what's the actual causes. We have the ghost hunters. We have the evangelical priest who attends these parties on a regular basis, but lives just down the road and has millions of followers. We have the old retired funeral home owners and demonologists, and they all grapple with trying to deal with whatever this haunting is in this location. All the while that Addison is kind of fighting their own moral code while doing this. This is actually a lot of fun. It's a real page turner. Read this in one day, and it's just so much fun. Some of the moments in here are genuinely funny in the way that they are portrayed. The demonologists in particular, for me, are a highlight, but there's also some really, really interesting sort of character turns for Addison in particular. Julian continues to be the incredibly supportive boyfriend all the way through this, but Addison is really, really struggling with their moral code, and there's a line in this which I'm going to paraphrase now, which is said to Addison, which is, when you have to choose between the dubious rules of an organisation trying to control you and yourself, I hope you pick yourself. And that's a really interesting line coming into this. It almost sounds quite aggressive in itself, but that acts very much as a framing device for some decisions at the end of the book. Now, worth mentioning here, This does have some spice in it, specifically at the end of the book, kind of as you would expect if you reach, if you pardon the pun, the climax of the story here. But I think this is actually really, really good. So for me personally, this was a 4-star read. This was actually really, really fun, which took me a little bit by surprise because I went into this expecting more of an erotic horror than I actually got. There is some spice in here at the end, worth mentioning that here. And whilst intimate relations are a theme running through this due to where Addison starts the story, it doesn't overwhelm the other themes of the story as well, which touch on things like grief and guilt in particular. And there were some really, really fun moments in here as well. The set pieces are smartly done. I love the caricature of some of the different characters that we have here as well. I would say this is more of a, well, not necessarily a comedy. This is certainly an amusing horror in many regards. If you want something quick and light, not too bloody, that's just a lot of fun in a horror book, then this is one that I think you should consider checking out. In terms of the bingo board, then this definitely hits haunted location. For me, it hits horror comedy as well. It is more fun than scary in many regards. For me as well, I'd say it hits found footage and journal, as at the minute the ghost hunters come in from that point onwards, everything is recorded, and that does play into the end of the story and some of the fallout from it as well, which I personally appreciated. So that's 3 of the things hit off there. I really enjoyed this. What I would like to know from you amazing people, though, is what horror comedies have you read or watched that you would recommend? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all very soon.